Would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Or would you rather be a mule? Now a mule is an animal with long funny ears. He kicks up at anything he hears. His back is brawny and his brain is weak. He's just plain stupid with a stubborn streak. And by the way, if you hate to go to school, you may grow up to be a mule. Or would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off? Greetings, peeps, and welcome to Survey of World Music, Ms Wn25 online. So I'm your host for the next several weeks, Dr. Tim Hendrickson. You can call me Dr. H. Everybody does. And just a little bit about me as far as an instructor goes. I'm very laid back. I try to make things as stress-free as possible. So please, if you're concerned at all about schedules and assignments, don't be. We will get through this, and I will adjust if necessary anyone's assignment schedules. But for the time being, we kind of have to try to stick to our own schedules. So please, excuse me, let's work together on this, and you'll find I'm very reasonable, very easygoing, and happy to work with you all I can. A little bit about how our course works. This is an all-online asynchronous course, and essentially what that means is that we don't have any regularly scheduled virtual or physical meeting time, right? We don't meet on a regular basis. What that means for you is that your progress in this course is up to you. You have to be engaged in the course. This means you gotta get online on your own. So I provide things for you, such as the detailed course calendar, so that it shows you when things start, when they're due. I also will send out regular announcements. I post these on the homepage of our e-learning site, as well as, you probably already noticed, I send copies of these to you in email, to your email. Having said that, I cannot force students to read emails, and I cannot force students to complete the work. That's up to you. You have to do this on your own. So, having said that, understand you are responsible for your own work, and therefore your own progress and your own grade. So please, don't let those things slip by you. Take the opportunities to log on, do the work, be engaged in the course. A little bit about how our course is structured. There are two sides to the story. There's the online textbook side, and with that, let's understand that you have to purchase that online text. You cannot successfully complete the course without it. So you got to get that textbook access code, get it registered so that you can complete the work, because all of the assignments, the readings, the exercises, the listening, written assignments, quizzes, and exams, these are all found on our online text. No assignments other than our discussion topics are on our e-learning site. You've got to log on to that online text to do the work. The other side of the story is our e-learning or D2L site, right? The e-learning site contains some very useful and informative components, such as the detailed course calendar, which I mentioned earlier, the modules, which contain descriptions of each section, and we're going to learn about both the online text and e-learning in a little bit here. The attendance drop box, the discussion topics, and news and announcements, which I've already talked about. So just understand there's two sides to the story. e-learning, online text, okay? You've got to get access. You have to have access to both of these. Now let's take a look at navigating around our e-learning D2L site. Okay, so let's have a look at navigating around our e-learning site. When you initially log on to e-learning, you will be given some choices, or you should be able to see all of the courses that you're enrolled in at Delta. If you only happen to be enrolled in my course, then obviously this is the only course you're going to see, but you will select that in order to get into our course, our e-learning site. And once you do, this is the page that you'll be looking at. You can see here at first there is the news items. This is where news and announcements are posted, and I have already done quite a few announcements for you, the welcome message, and of course the announcement about the correction of our online text. In addition to the news announcements, you also have some instructor information, and you have some items that are on the lower right-hand side of our homepage, namely this calendar, which shows you when things are coming due. For example, this attendance week 2 and attendance week 3. We're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail a little later on, but please understand that this is not the same thing as the detailed course calendar. This is just simply a handy widget that is provided for you by eLearning. Just, it's a little tool, nothing that's really earth-shatteringly important. Most of the items that you're going to be concerned with respect to our course are going to be found under the Content tab. So if we come up here and we click on Content, we'll be brought to this page. And as you can see, we have things like the course syllabus, which is broken down into instructor information, course description, attendance, and grading. And then you have what I was referring to before, our detailed course calendar. So let's take a look at that for right now, just so we can kind of get familiar with it. You'll notice that our course is broken down into various sections. There are 10 sections. And each section has a start date and a due date. And so, for example, section 1 has a start date, or had a start date, of January 6th, and it will end or come due on January 18th. So just be aware that these are the dates that you should concern yourself with the various sections to our online text and to our course in general. Also note that each section is broken down into separate classes, and as it says up here at the top, each class ends with a quiz. So every single one of these classes is going to have a quiz associated with it. And we'll talk more about navigating around our online text a little bit later in this vid, but for now, just be aware the detailed course calendar is where you can go to find out when things begin and when things are due. And you also have a link to our online text, and this is just simply you click on this link here on Music of the World, and it brings you to our online textbook. Again, we're going to be discussing that in a little bit of more detail just a little bit later on in this vid. In addition to the links you see here, there's one more link that's going to be provided for you, and I will take care of that right now. And magically it appears. So when you click on this module of weekly attendance, you'll be brought to this page, and you'll see here it says here is where you will record your weekly attendance. Simply click on the appropriate link corresponding to the current week. You'll be brought to the appropriate assignment drop box. Enter the word present in the text submission box, and your attendance will be recorded. So also, obviously, there's only going to be one submission allowed per week. So let's see what happens if we were to click on this link right here, and it tells you an unavailable quick link. And the reason it says that is because as of the recording of this vid, it is past the date that this weekly attendance record is being accepted. So we've got to go back to the content tab. Now let's see if it'll let us go from this link. And indeed it does, because we are now at January 12th. So all you have to do, again, this is where you'll record your weekly attendance. Simply click into this text submission box down here and type in the word present. And that's all you have to do. Hit the word submit. And you'll see it brings you to this page, and all you have to do is say done. And your text submission is recorded. Now, it might ask you if you're sure, but just understand that this is how you will record your weekly attendance, and I will be able to transfer this, or it may already be transferred to our grade book. Now, while we're on that subject, let me just sort of enlighten you on grades for a moment. If we click on the grades tab, right now we're not going to see much because these grades technically for our course have not been set up yet. They will be soon, don't worry, but just understand that because we are still getting things ironed out with our online text and with the modules for our course, the grades aren't going to show up here. But you will be able to track your grades through our online text, and we'll be talking about that again soon. If you go to the Activities tab, you will also see that you can go to the discussions. And so that's another part of our course, the discussion topics that we all want to take part in. And many of you already have. And I'm grateful for that. So all you have to do is click on the link to the discussion topic, which is introductions. And if you have not subscribed, it will ask you up here to subscribe to the topic. You might note that you cannot post to the discussion board, nor can you respond to either of anyone's posts without subscribing to the topic. So you can see here you have all the posts that have been presented so far, and you are encouraged to do your own post, as well as to post a short response to two of your classmates, or if you want, you may post a response to my post. It isn't necessary, but you can if you want. That does count as one of your responses. And then next to the Activities tab is the Communications tab, and you'll see here you can pull up a class list. The class list shows you everyone that's in the class there, and you can click on their names to email them if you wish. You can also click on the Instructor tab, and you can send me an email directly through this tab if you wish. And that's really about all there is for our e-learning site. Again, for the most part, you're going to be following things on the Content tab. And for the most part, you will have news and announcements on this homepage here. You might also have realized that I always copy the announcements, the news items that I post to email, and I always send them out to the entire class as an email. So if you have any questions about our e-learning site or any factor about the content of our e-learning site, you can always email me. One final thing, the modules, there will be other modules added to this that have to do with our online text. Those modules will be based upon, of course, our detailed course calendar. So first module will be for section 1, next module will be for section 2, and so forth. So just another tool for you to use. Okay, let's get back to our introduction vid. Okay, so I hope you found that informative and helpful. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to email me. Now, let's take a look at navigating around our online text. Okay, so now let's take a look at navigating around our online text. As you realize, the only way to get to our online text is to go through our e-learning site. So once you get back to our homepage, you just simply click on the Contents tab. and then go to the online textbook link, and you'll be brought to something that looks just like this. You click on Music of the World, and bingo, you are brought to our online text. So you can see up here we have a title window, and you have then all of these sections, all of these classes that are presented for you. Now, before we get into this, let me just iterate something to you. You have the ability to toggle between our online text and our e-learning site. And I would encourage you to just go ahead and keep that detailed course calendar open, because that's going to show you what is due and when and how things are broken down into sections. For example, section 1 contains classes 1 through 4. It starts January 6th or started January 6th, and it'll end on January 18th. So if we come back over here to our online text, we get class 1 through 4. We can see here, but it's not broken down into the same categories of sections that we have. So just the way our book is designed. I encourage you to look at all of these things. The course preamble is not really anything majorly important, but it does kind of give you some background information and some useful hints as to the things that you can do on our online text. Let me just say this. You have some navigational tools up here, these orange arrows. They do exactly what you would expect them to do. They advance you to the next page. If at any time you want to get back to that main page that has all of the classes listed, just simply click right here, right to the right of the word dashboard, and that will bring you right back to where you were. So let's take a look at this first class, this Music of Central Asia and the Caucasus. Notice how it's broken down into an introduction, diverse identities, Central Asia, and so forth. And then at the end of the class, you have a quiz. So what I recommend that you do, because you have until the 18th to finish this, is to try to do one class a day if you can, or dedicate one study session a day per class. That will enable you to have some time to consider what you're looking at, what you're reading. But let's take a look at the introduction. The introduction does exactly what you would think it would do. It tells you what's what and why and so forth. And then notice up here you have some tools. These tools are usually always present on pages of our online text. You have the author profile. You have you can listen to a lecture if this helps you. You have the ability to test yourself on your knowledge of your reading. You have some music that you can discover. You also have videos that you can watch, and you have references. So these are all tools that are available to you, and I encourage you to avail yourself to them as you are working your way through our online text. If we advance forward, we can look at the topic of diverse identities, and we see maps. These are interactive maps that we can click on and view up close. Again, I point out you have these tools up here that you can click on and use at any time. Notice how we have an arrow at the bottom now pointing up. This will take you back to the top of the page. You can also now arrow left or right. Just again, these are navigational tools to get you through your text. Okay, and then we move on through other areas of the world, and you have something called an image slide show, and they're talking primarily about musical instruments of this area. And so this is just going to take you through, if you click next, take you through these various instruments that we're going to be studying in this particular class. And then we go ahead, moving on through. Now we're looking at Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. So these are all areas of the world where we're learning a little bit about the music and culture, or musical culture of these areas. And then we have this instrument called the Shashmakum. So good luck with pronouncing these. Anyway, you also have some samples of how these instruments sound. Anytime you see this icon with the arrow in it that gives you the choice to play, go ahead and click on it. Let's see what happens. And nothing. I'm not sure why we're not getting, there we go. So I'm going to let you take all the time you want to listen to these different instruments. But just again, you have this description offered to you of the Shashmakum is traditionally associated with aristocratic and elitist culture. And each suite is named after a particular mode, and each mode is characterized by a particular melodic motif. So yeah, go ahead and experiment with these. We're looking at various different types of musical instruments. I'm not too pleased with the way this one is carried out, because it seems like that's a very narrow window. You can't really see much, but nevertheless, have fun with it, explore to your heart's desire, and then you will come at the end of the class to and this is something that we're going to just kind of take a look at. You see here it says 5 attempts. You may have more, you may have less than that. Don't panic. I am always willing to give people second chances. But let's just take a look at what a quiz looks like. When we your view, by the way, may be slightly different because you're a student. I do not have the option of a student view, but let's just take a look here at what happens. It says here under question 1, the first nomads who occupied Central Asia came from the northern grasslands of present day. And they're asking you to select one. Armenia, I can't even begin to pronounce that, or Uzbekistan, or Tajikistan. And we've already had these two names presented to us. So let's just, for the sake of finding things out, let's just go ahead and click on one of these and click submit and see what happens. Now, you can see here that it says correct. It's telling you immediately that your answer was correct. Had we selected an incorrect answer, we would have seen a red X and been notified. So you are told up front whether or not you have answered correctly. I do not know if students have the option of starting a new preview, because again, for you, it's not really a preview. For you, it's the actual taking of the exam. So anyway, we can discuss that. And if any of you have any issues with taking the text, no worries, or excuse me, taking the quizzes, no worries. Just get in touch with me through email and we will do our best to get that taken care of. Once again, remember that you can just always go back to the opening page by clicking on that link that's right next to the word dashboard. So let's expand all of these. I'm going to open up all of these just to take a look at them, and so you can see after each class there is a quiz. So just be aware those are present. And you have some other things to consider with respect to the classes. Particularly, there are short written assignments. So here's one, and you have a midterm exam, and you have another short written assignment. Now, let's take a look back at our detailed course calendar. Notice how it has the midterm exam and the final exam listed. These short written assignments are put in here periodically, so I think there's just 4 of them. But just understand, you're going to have plenty of time to complete these short written assignments, and they're not lengthy. You don't have to write a 10-page report or anything like that. They're just very, very short. Going back to the online text, I wanted to point out something to you with respect to grading. The most accurate representation of your grade with respect to the work that you're doing on our online text can be found on your online text, not on e-learning. So just make sure you understand that distinction. E-learning has specific uses in that that's where our discussion topics are, that's where our textbook link is, that's where announcements are going to be given. But the actual assignments, the readings, the listening, viewing, and the quizzes, exams, and short written papers, those are all on your online text. Now, I do not have a student view available to me, or as I said earlier, so I'm going to show you a little bit about what your grade will look like, but please keep in mind, this is not for our course. This particular view is from an old course, and it's not one that you need to worry about. But just understand that when you go to your online text, you'll have a tab that says My Grades. You can click on that at any time to view your progress, and it'll be laid out very similar to this. It will have whatever written assignments you're going to be doing, the score range or point range, percentage, a letter grade associated with it, feedback if there is any, and what the contribution to the course total is. That's kind of like a cumulative point spread. And then your quizzes according to the various lessons. In our case, it'd be the classes that we take, because there's a quiz after each class. And then we have the midterm and final exam grades that are displayed to you. So just wanted you to understand that anytime you want to know how you're doing in the course, you can look at this My Grades tab, and it will show you what your progress is. But it does not mean that is your final grade. Please keep in mind that I grade on effort and participation every bit as much as I do on correct answers. So if you are engaged in the course and you are doing your best, you are going to do just fine. The issue would be if you don't ever complete any assignments, you don't communicate with me, that's when you're going to have any type of poor grade issue. Okay, I hope this has clarified some things for you with respect to our online text. And you can once again explore this to your heart's desire, and I encourage you to do so. Just understand also, though, that with our e-learning site, the detailed course calendar shows you when things start, so when things are open, and when they are due or when they close. And that includes our attendance links. So hopefully this has clarified some things for you, and I look forward to working with each of you. If you do have any questions, as always, feel free to email me. Okay, let's get back to our intro vid. All right, once again, hopefully you found that helpful and useful and informative. If you have questions about either the e-learning site or the online textbook site or any aspect of our course, please feel free to email me. Having said that, let's talk a little bit about communication with me. The best way to communicate with me is through email. And while you are certainly welcome to call my office, please understand I am not on campus in my office every single day of the week. In fact, this semester in particular, because the majority of the courses that I'm teaching are all online, I'm only at Delta at the main campus 2 to 3 days a week. You are always welcome to drop by, and if you walk by my office and you see the door closed, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not in, so go ahead and knock. But the best way to ensure to see me is to email me ahead of time and let me know you're coming. Also, if we do need to meet for any reason, face-to-face, we can do this in a number of ways, but we have to set this up prior to. So I need you to email me and say, hey, I need to have a one-on-one conversation with you. And we can do this in person, of course, in my office at Delta, or we can do it virtually through a Zoom meeting or WhatsApp or some other platform. I have no problem with doing that whatsoever. You just need to let me know ahead of time, and the way to do that is through email. If you call my office and leave a voicemail, I may not get it until 3-4 days after you've called. Email's the best way. I check my email every single day. The only exception to that is the weekends. Unless there's some type of severe emergency or glitches like we had in the beginning of the semester, I don't typically look at my email on the weekends. So, for example, what that means for you, if you email me on a Friday, you're probably not going to hear back from me until the following Monday. Other than that, I try to respond to all emails within a 24 to 48 hour period. So there you go. If it's something that I deem is really, really super urgent, then of course I will try to get with you, quicker than that. But for the most part, 24 to 48 hours is the best I can do. So let's talk a little bit about attendance. Now, as I said earlier, this is an online course, right? We're asynchronous. We don't have regularly scheduled meeting times, either physically or virtually. Nevertheless, you still have to be engaged in the course and engaged in the course materials. So one of the ways that we do this is by having that attendance module that we talked about in our e-learning site. Log in once a week, right? In the text submission box, type the word present. Your attendance will be recorded after you hit the submit button. It doesn't matter to me which day of the week you decide to do this. You have from Sundays at 12:01 a.m. to the following Saturday at 11:59 p.m. to do this. So if you want to do this on Sunday and get that out of the way, great. If you want to wait till Saturday, that's fine too. Only one submission per week, right? So you'll see in the modules, each week is provided for you a link to record that attendance, okay? And your attendance is recorded. That's the only way I have of showing online students presence in the course. We're required to take attendance. The only way I know to do that is to have you guys shoot me some kind of message. Hey, I'm here. So there you go. If you have questions about that, just send me an email. And then as far as grades are concerned, as I said on the video regarding our online text, the most accurate and up-to-date information pertaining to your progress in the course is on our online text. You can see a grade there, okay? That does not, however, reflect your overall grade for the course. Please remember, I consider all the aspects, all right? I consider your effort and your participation in the course every bit as much as I do correct answers on quizzes and great essays and things like that, okay? So please, I do this for this reason. Often test scores are not an accurate representation of a student's abilities. I want you to be successful. In order for you to be successful in this course, in addition to turning in assignments, you have to be engaged in the course. That means you're logging in every week, you're submitting your attendance, you are completing assignments, you're participating in the online discussions, and you're communicating with me if you have issues. That's being engaged in the course and the course materials. And if you do all of that, you are going to do great. There will be no issues. Okay, I hope that this clarifies some things for you with respect to our course, how it's put together, how it works, and how I work. I have thoroughly enjoyed reading your introduction posts on our first discussion topic. There will be other vids for you to consider, other lecture vids that pertain to the sections in our course. World music is a fascinating subject, so there's a lot to cover. We will do our best to get all over the world and find out wonderful things about online music. I cannot reiterate this enough. If at any time you have any questions regarding any of the aspects of our course or course materials, please email me and I will do my best to answer your question within a 24 to 48 hour period. Only exception to that, of course, is weekends. Okay, so I look forward to getting to work with each of you. Folks, have an absolutely amazing semester, and we'll see you soon.
Love makes me treat you the way that I do. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? There's nothing too good for a girl that's so true. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? I bought you a fur coat for Christmas, a diamond ring, a Cadillac car, and everything. Love makes me treat you the way that I do.